Alright then, hello and welcome back to another event video, this for Valentiones Day 2026, taking place today the 2nd of February and lasting until Monday the 16th of February 2026. If you want to take part in this, you need to be level 15 or above, and if you're a new player, you need to have access to airship travel, so do your MSQ until you finish the quest. It's probably pirates, and then come over to New Gridania, teleport over to Old Gridania, which is to the north, and you'll see the level 15 quest, the icing on the cake with Astrid. I'm not going to spoil the storyline for you. We're going to focus solely on the event itself, the actual rewards, and then a little bit of a discussion. The first of the rewards is the Rolandberry Valentiones cake. This is a tabletop housing item with 10 uses, so this is a consumable and grants some buffs housing item. Once you've cleared all 10 uses, it will also become a completely different in appearance housing item as well. Once you've finished the first quest, you'll realize that you actually unlock a new seasonal instance, the Patisserie. So this will actually allow you to enter this instance. It says, speak with the House Valentiones Patissier in Miketo's Amphitheater or the Acorn Orchard. It's a light party instance for a party of 1 to 4 players. There are no class, job, or level requirements for participation, and parties that register for the instance with less than 4 members can choose to enter with their current party or choose to fill their party automatically via the matching system. So that is another thing as well. So simply go over to this guy and you'll be able to queue for this. And yeah, basically it's an instance. So let's see if we can find a matched party for this. Wow, this looks absolutely amazing. So of course we've got cake bases at the back there in the center. We've got all sorts of pieces, like toppings. Oh my goodness, we've got mammoths running around. What an event, eh? So whilst I was recording this, I didn't realize, but our timer was actually bugged out. There's supposed to be a timer at the right side of the screen on the duty. It's supposed to tell you how long you have left. Effectively, this is a race against time. I didn't realize this because I was like, oh, there's no timer, I'll just chill out. Effectively, the best way to do this would be to coordinate with your party and sort of split off so you could get certain different ingredients. You have an action button that you can press, a horn, that will basically deactivate mammoths in a sort of cone shape. They will also freeze you as well if you get hit by any of the AoEs. That's what that does. And on the right side, you've got a list of all the ingredients you need. And the ingredients themselves, if you look around the room, will be highlighted and glowing effectively. And then you have to return back to your cake and then turn it in. Once you finish one cake, the next cake base will be open. Again, you're still against that, master timer, basically. So maybe it'll work for you. My timer did not work, so I was like, having the greatest time in the universe. But yeah, there are 5 cakes that you can complete. And depending on how many cakes you complete is how much currency, the Valentiones chocolates, which is used as a currency in this event, that you will get. Not to stress too much, though, because I only did basically 3 cakes in this party this morning, and that was enough to give me 99 Valentiones chocolates. I'm not sure what the amount of chocolates is that increases if you get all 5, or if there is a special cutscene or something. You'll have to let me know in the comment section, because 99 was more than enough for every single item from the event. So, and all I ever did was 3 cake completions, but it would be cool to go in later and test that out. But if you guys know what the perfect 5 cakes completed looks like, and if there's anything extra, let me know in the comment section. But now we've got our confectionery and we've completed our quest. Let's continue. It is a really cool instance though. And upon eventually turning in the quest, you'll get yourself the Rolandberry Valentiones cake tabletop housing item. So that's that. And then additionally, obviously the instance can be revisited. It says you can now attempt the patisserie seasonal instance again by speaking with the House Valentiones Patissier in either Miketo's Amphitheater or the Acorn Orchard. You may earn Valentiones Day chocolates by completing the Patissier, and these chocolates may be traded to the House Valentiones maid in Miketo's Amphitheater for gear and items. So that's how you actually get the main thing. So now we have access to the instance. We've done that. We've got ourselves our cake. That is the event item. We also got some Valentiones Day chocolates. So what we can now do is go over to the Purveyor of Love. And on here, you'll see that very cheaply, the Cozy and the Comfy sets of gear will cost you 7 chocolates per piece. So there is actually something to do in this event. There's also the Affection Confections Orchestrion roll, Flavors of the Heart, and a Heartfelt Finish. Those are 2. And then we have some housing items. We've got a chair, the round table, the cake, again, if you wanted another one, and the advertisement for last year's event, which is now a housing item for your wall, for 1. You'll also notice the rug is also 4, and there's also 2, graphic magic prisms, basically fireworks. So in the 99 that I got, and just like that, from 99 chocolates, I got all of the items, aside from obviously the magic prisms, and I'm still left with 31. So it doesn't matter if you only manage to make 3, but we're going to have to science this out a little bit later and figure out what the absolute minimum cake building is. But you should be able to do at least 3, even in our group where we basically doubled up on ingredients accidentally. So that's pretty fine, I guess. So the obvious then, we have ourselves 3 pieces of gear that are shared with a 4th piece. So of course we've got the Cozy set, which is the Cozy Valentiones beret, cardigan and skirt. So then we're sharing the shoes with the other set as well. So effectively it's a 3-piece, but it's a 4-piece. And yeah, basically you have this nice warm cardigan, a nice patterned skirt, some really quite nice shoes, and of course a cool looking beret. And then the other version is a slightly different beret. Now the differences between them, effectively you'll notice that on this one, on the Cozy, there isn't anything on the side of it, but on the Comfy, there is actually a ribbon. So that's the thing that seems to be different between them. And here's a side-by-side comparison. I thought it would be good to show this off. The shirts are actually very close, like the ugly sweaters. They are pretty much the same. They just have different dye palettes and different base colors. You'll see that in a moment when we get to dyes. The back of the boots has little heart emblems, and the front is fairly unassuming. You might be wondering, didn't this have socks attached to it? Well, the socks are actually attached to the leg piece, to the actual skirt. So you can see around the ankles we have these lovely little embossed hearts. That's actually part of the leg rather than the feet. So this basically adds a skirt with the ability to have little socks attached to other boots, which is a really interesting idea. But of course, if you just wanted to wear the skirt on its own with certain shoes, you're going to have to bear in mind that the skirt might not work because you'll have these weird socks that you can't toggle on and off. Let's look through some dyes then to give you a good comparison. As we usually do, one direction with one set and then the same dyes but in the opposite direction for the second palette. To give you an example, just to show you how those differ in dye ability. And you'll notice that straight off the bat there is a huge section of red on the one on the left there, which cannot be changed. Those diamonds are changing not at all. But of course, I don't know. I don't think I like the top, personally. I don't think these outfits are necessarily my cup of tea. They are cozy, they do look comfy, but the thing that really attracts me is that skirt. It might not be the shortest skirt in the world, but I like the patterning on it. You'll notice some of the unfortunate realities of dyes, though, on that skirt, because the pattern is so subtle. A lot of the brighter colors completely wash that out, unfortunately, so the texture disappears. So you're better off with darker colors, or metallic colors maybe, which aren't even represented as fully as metal colors as they normally would. Like jet black looks pretty good, but sort of like you want middle ground, not too dark, not too light. Metallic silver looks pretty good as well. The skirt material and the shorts, like specifically the skirt, seems to counteract metallic colors. Like metallic orange looks like red for some reason. Metallic green looks like I don't know, it just sort of turns off the metallic nature of that skirt does, which is quite handy actually, because it means you can get brighter, more interesting colors without the sheen. But I'm not sure if that's like an intended thing of that texture or not. But yeah, definitely the thing that excites me the most is the skirt, but perhaps you like the full set, and hopefully that gives you a good idea of what those look like side by side. But of course, you know, these outfits are free. Whilst they are free, the next year they're not going to be when they're added inevitably to the store. A little bit of a closer look then at the skirt, because I was vaguely interested if I could turn it into a tartan skirt. You'll see that that's a Roland Berry red right there. That's compared to a carmine red, so that's what I mean, like the difference in the brightness of the color seems to completely wash out those textures. But I think this skirt is incredibly usable. There's a pastel pink, obviously, bit too bright. But yeah, that, believe it or not, is cobalt green, and it looks like that. It's gorgeous. It reminds me of, like, I think when I was in Australia, I used to see the schoolgirls wearing that exact color at school, if I remember correctly. Yeah, interesting. So obviously, here's a few examples of some stuff. I've put the gear on the side if you're interested. People always ask, what's that piece of gear? Hopefully that helps. Of course, a bit of the near Yorha stuff mixed with that, but I quite like the idea of, you know, using this skirt with tops to create like kind of like a gothic look. I would love to have a proper tartan skirt with the details a little bit, you know, like the checkered details more vibrant, so that you can get away with brighter colors. Have a red version of that. But yeah, there's the alternative top as well. I think that looks really cool personally. Like, this just reminds me straight off of college, of all the people I used to know there that dressed kind of like this. The Galatea tights here might, like the heels might be a little bit overkill, but we kind of need like a more basic tight there. But yeah, just to give you some examples of how this could be used. I'm a bit of a glutton for the skirt, honestly. I couldn't think of many other uses for the rest, like the cardigan. They're cute items, but I think the skirt is the bit that's going to be, you know, probably the most sought after from some people, at least. Some people that watch this channel for glamour ideas. And this was especially cool as well. I got the Gomp set, like the spiky sort of almost BDSM top, with the little bit that goes over the top and draped down the skirt. It kind of looks like a sporran, which is kind of cool. And then obviously to show you that it layers quite nicely as well with the fortune teller's attire from a cash shop, just the top there. That's one thing to take home from this, is it does actually layer lovely with other chess pieces. And of course, the best thing about event items is that we can store them in the armoire, so they don't have to take up our precious glamour dresses storage. So make sure they're fully repaired, obviously, and then put them in. All right, then, let's listen to very briefly what each of these Orchestrions are then. So we've got Affection Collections, then we've got ourselves Flavors of the Heart, and then we've also got a Heartfelt Finish. So that's what those sound like. Alrighty then, so we've got a housing item. So first of all, let's look at the table. We're going to need a table. So this is the Valentiones round table, as exactly as you would imagine it. It's exactly the same as the picture on the lodestone. We've got ourselves a nice table here, draped across with a covering. And we've got the heart shapes on the center. So this is pretty much the same tables that you get near enough. There's slight differences in the instance. Obviously, this is for placing large cakes on. So this is be quite useful for venues, that kind of thing, if you're having a Eternal Bond ceremony, or perhaps you just want to have a really cool looking table. And of course, with the dye ability, that is, of course, going to change the color of the base table. What's really surprising to me is that the cover didn't get changed, so that's permanently a pink color. Again, more than ever, I think that it's time to harp on about the fact we don't have a double dye system for housing, and it's something that would severely change housing enthusiasts' enjoyment for the better in the future. So I think that's a natural step maybe for 8.0 or beyond that, whenever they can fit that in. But having 2 palettes on housing items would make the most sense when we have 2 objects, two palettes rather, that are quite obvious that would work here. But yeah, so a variety of base wood colors. Then, of course, outside of that, we have the cake itself. So let's place the cake down. Of course, this is a consumable item. And of course, if you do eat this, it is gone forever, pretty much. But of course, you could go and get more. Which is what I probably intend to. So the cake itself is quite large. It's as big as the Roland Berry cake in the actual instance. The one thing I will say is all of those other delicious looking cakes from the instance, it would have been really cool if we could get those as housing items as well. Like the pistachio cake, for example, and the lemon cake, just to have them next to each other, because I think that would be really quite nice. But look at the detail on this, the little chocolate hearts there. And you have that sort of connection. Now you've done the instance to know what all of the individual pieces were as you were trying to do it against the invisible clock, which I'm sure is probably a bug, but there's definitely a clock timer there that we can't see. And don't worry if you're wondering what it looks like when I've eaten it, I've got you covered. Give me a second. Oh man, my character really is well fed. She's just eaten an entire massive plated cake. All right, and that's what you're left with, which is actually pretty useful, a lot of people will say. And yeah, it's just a massive circular disc. It has a little bit of height off of the table, but not too much this time. So if you're looking for a giant circled metal disc with very little pattern on it, you know, some housing enthusiasts clip things together to make some amazing things. Like I've seen people make tanks and helicopters out of housing items. So if you're looking for a big circle disc, that's what you need to do. Go and get some cakes and eat them. Additionally, we have, for the floor to put this on, we've got the Valentiones rug, which looks like this. Unfortunately, this is not dyeable. I was kind of hoping that the rug was going to be dyeable. It's quite a nice rug if you like 4 circles, effectively. And then you could place this whole thing on there, look, like that. Obviously, it'd be better if it was snap to grid, but, you know, it's fine. And then, of course, we have ourselves the chair to go with this. So if you want to sit near your cake, you totally can. The chair is one of the most exciting parts about this, personally. I do like the styling of that. Like the heart-themed back there. Like a tiny bit of, like, other wood or metal. I think that's wood, right? On the back there. And we've got a nice seat cushion. And, of course, if we wanted to, we could change the color of the chair, which is the only other dyeable item. And of course, that does affect the chair color. Again, I mean, you know what I'm going to say. So should I really say that we need two palettes on some items? It'd be nice if the back of the chair could be dyed. You could have like a pink backing and then like a different colored seat, but I guess that will have to wait for the future. It's a really nice chair though. It's quite interesting. Very different than the ones available that we've got already. So might pick up a few of these. It does involve actually doing the instance a few times, but pick up a few chairs like this. And of course, all of these items will very likely be available on the Final Fantasy XIV online store for real money next year. As you've seen on today's Cash Up update, there is obviously the items from previous year. So if I was you, I would grab these, especially if you are interested. And then finally, we've got the wall-mounted mural, basically, of last year's event page, basically. This is what they had on the lodestone. Looks a little bit pixelated up close and personal, but that is a lovely picture. The pictures have started to incorporate characters, you know, last year. Incorporate characters from the Signs of the Seventh Dawn and beyond, actual main characters. Out of context, none of the like the themes match. it's just some really nice artwork. So I'm personally very excited for some of the ones that we've had more recently. I think a lot of people can probably tell which. But yeah, it's really cool, isn't it? Really, really cool. All in all, those housing items, not too bad, not too shabby. And of course, that is our event this year. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully that helped. We tried to go through as many dies and things on the outfit. And of course, you know, I try to cover things as much as I can in as much detail in a timely manner. So hopefully that was helpful. Much love. Have a fantastic time. See if you can get the high score on the Patissier minigame. I'm really curious as to how many more chocolates you would get. Is 99 the max, or can you get more? Anyway, I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.